Every year, there are 150,000 work-related injuries in the construction industry nationally. These injuries are almost always caused by mistakes and can usually be prevented by understanding and following safety practices and programs. Overaa is vitally concerned with your health and safety. It is our commitment that safety always comes first. As part of our safety program, each and every employee is required to help create a safe place to work for everyone. Overaa's excellent safety history and our extensive construction experience have enabled Overaa to work with a wide variety of clients in many different industries. With projects such as oil refineries, water treatment, and wastewater treatment plants, laboratories, energy plants, and military bases, come different types of construction procedures, processes, and permits necessary to complete the various work tasks. In this video, we will present a general overview of the Overaa safety policies, procedures, and programs. The information discussed during this presentation will be general in nature. One of the things that you will learn about construction is that every site is a dynamic environment. It is always changing. Depending on your job location, specialized facility training may be required to gain access. We ask that when you are performing a task, you use the specific training you have received for that task. If there are parts of the job you do not understand, always ask your supervisor before beginning the job. All employees are responsible for using safe work practices and following all company policies and safe operating procedures. We appreciate your help in maintaining a safe and healthy workplace and preserving our environment. Overaa is a general contractor. When we control the worksite, we are known as a controlling employer on a multi-employer worksite. Other employers on a multi-employer worksite may include subcontractors and their own employees. Each person working for Overaa has a responsibility to perform his or her work in a safe manner, thus providing a safe workplace for everyone. Further, each employee has the obligation, responsibility, and authority to stop work or to decline to perform an assigned task or to discuss and resolve safety concerns without fear of reprisal. Superintendents, foremen, and/or other personnel are expected to clearly communicate Overaa's safety policies and procedures so they are fully understood and enforced consistently and fairly. One of the safety programs at Overaa is the Short Service Employee, or SSE. As a new employee, you will have a green SSE sticker on your hard hat for 6 months, which will be clearly visible for others to help identify you and to help train you as a new worker. Common questions that new employees might ask include: who do I talk to if I don't understand my assigned task? Who do I talk to if I need some help? Where do I get PPE, such as a pair of gloves or safety glasses? Most of our documentation will be stored in the Overaa job site trailer, including the Injury and Illness Prevention Plan, or IIPP, the blueprint for the Overaa safety program. The IIPP includes management commitment and assignment of responsibilities, safety communication systems with employees, system for assuring employee compliance with safe work practices, scheduled inspections and evaluation system, accident investigation, procedures for correcting unsafe or unhealthy conditions, safety and health training and instruction, and record keeping and documentation. The Code of Safe Practices provides basic information to help you complete the job task safely. If your supervisor is not available, the Code of Safe Practices is always accessible to everyone. Also in the job site trailer, you will find the Safety Data Sheets, or SDS binder, which includes information regarding hazardous chemicals on the job site, how to safely handle and store them, and how to treat accidental exposures to them. A first aid kit is also available in the job site trailer. In addition to the water supply found in all working areas, there may be more water stored in the job site office trailer or Connex storage area. You are encouraged to stay well hydrated and drink plenty of water throughout the day. Working unsafe constitutes a safety violation, and Overaa reserves the right to discipline or discharge any employee at will. We believe that employees found performing work in a manner that would endanger themselves, co-workers, the general public, or property should be identified and retrained for those unsafe work practices. Overaa requires a forklift certification prior to any forklift operation. Only trained employees, when authorized by the superintendent, may operate forklifts. Overaa requires training, authorization, certification, and inspections before using all equipment. Only authorized personnel may operate forklifts, scissor lifts, boom lifts, or skid steers. Prior to operating equipment, walk-around inspections must be conducted to ensure that tires, backrest, boom, hydraulics, fuel, water, and the backup alarm are all working properly. Heavy equipment traffic is one of the most dangerous hazards on a construction job site. If there is any moving equipment near you, such as trucks, scrapers, excavators, forklifts, or backhoes, you must be wearing a high-visibility vest, and you must make eye contact with the operator. If you need to drill, cut, or grind into concrete, you must be specifically trained, not only on the dangers of tool operation, but also on concrete and silica hazards and ways to protect yourself. If a wet method or HEPA vacuum system is not being used, you must always wear respiratory protection. Grinders will be issued by the superintendent only after they have discussed the dangers of grinder use with the employee. This discussion will include proper use of the grinder and the required PPE or personal protective equipment needed. Limited access areas may require yellow caution barricade tape. When you see yellow caution tape, it means there could be a safety hazard in that area, and you should proceed with caution. Red danger tape means do not enter into the barricaded area. All red-taped areas will have a work identification card attached to the tape. This card tells you the reason for the barricade, how long it will be in place, and a contact phone number for any questions. Every morning, we hold a tailgate meeting with everyone on site. During the tailgate meeting, we will conduct a daily stretch and flex, which are exercises that help to loosen up employees' muscles. These simple exercises can prevent muscle strains and prepare you for the day's work. Once stretching begins, all required personal protective equipment, or PPE, must be worn. Hard hat, safety glasses, high visibility reflective vest, minimum 4-inch shirt sleeves, sturdy pants, and sturdy work boots are required. Assessments will be made to address the use of other PPE that may be necessary. After stretch and flex, the Job Hazard Analysis, or JHA, will be discussed, where you will be told the locations of all active work areas and possible hazards.
Make sure we're all being safe and everybody's on the same page, guys.
Other discussion topics may include introduction of new short service employees, or SSEs, an emergency action plan, and emergency phone numbers specific to your assigned site. Always remember that the construction site is a dynamic environment, which is constantly changing. Other people may be working above you or below you. Be careful where you walk, and always be aware of uneven ground and your surroundings. Housekeeping is an entire worksite effort that must be continually maintained. Walkways and work areas with clutter will create tripping hazards. Scrap lumber, excess paper, cardboard, and trash can create a fire danger. A temporary waste storage area will be designated for use throughout the day. Inspect your area, keep your area clean, and clean as you go. Food waste and other trash should be placed in a trash receptacle with the lid always kept closed. It is essential that any injuries, accidents, or near misses be reported immediately to your supervisor. If required, the supervisor will call 911. If you are instructed to call 911, stay on the line until you answer all of their questions and let the dispatcher hang up first. First aid supplies are always located in the office trailer or tool conic storage area. If an injury occurs that requires first aid, the superintendent or his trained designee will remain with the injured worker and provide first aid services. If the injury requires additional treatment beyond first aid, the superintendent will arrange transportation to a designated clinic. On-site health and safety may also be asked to come to the job site to assess the injury. Injuries must be reported to your supervisor immediately to avoid delays or denial by workers' compensation. Overaa has selected the doctors from Advanced Industrial Care to provide your medical care if needed. At Overaa, we work hard to prevent fire hazards and harmful exposures to workers and the environment. Fire is a fast-moving, destructive force that can overcome you quickly. Therefore, pre-planning and continual housekeeping are critical on the job site. Always inspect your area for any paper, cardboard, wood scraps, grease-soaked towels, or other items that may create a fire danger. Requirements for hot work include fire equipment use training, fire watch personnel assignments, and any appropriate hot work permits. When a hot work permit and fire watch are required, there will be an inspection and removal of all combustibles before any hot work begins. Fire watch personnel will be prepared to extinguish small fires by using firefighting equipment available on the site. In any fire situation, speed is vital. As soon as fire is discovered, immediately call your supervisor or 911.
Fire on site.
If you have received firefighting training, decide whether the fire can be safely and easily extinguished. If you have not received firefighting training, or if the fire is larger than you can handle, call 911 immediately. Close all doors to isolate the fire and evacuate the area. An evacuation is the deliberate, unhurried exit from an area of danger to a predetermined safe assembly area. In the event of an evacuation, shut down all equipment and proceed to the safe assembly area immediately. The superintendent, or his designee, is responsible for the accounting of all employees at the safe assembly area. Heat illness is a serious medical condition resulting from the body's inability to cope with a particular heat load. Symptoms include heat cramps, heat exhaustion, fainting, and heat stroke. Exposure to heat can cause severe illness or even death. In 2005, 13 heat work-related deaths occurred in the state of California. Once you have suffered from heat stress, you are more susceptible to experience it again. We take precautions anytime temperatures are high and the job involves physical work. When temperatures reach 80 degrees, shade will be available for you. At least 1 quart of water per hour or 2 gallons for the day is needed every day. The amount of water you drink today will help you tomorrow. To prevent heat illness, Overaa communicates a complete and effective heat illness prevention program, provides training about the hazards leading to heat stress and how to prevent them, provides reasonably cool water to workers close to the work area, and provides shaded rest areas and adequate recovery time. If you have any questions or concerns about heat illness prevention, please ask your superintendent. PPE is the minimum personal protective equipment and wearing apparel standards for anyone working on the job site. Required PPE includes hard hat, safety glasses, reflective safety vest, 4-inch minimum shirt sleeves, gloves, heavy-duty work pants, and sturdy work boots. In potentially hazardous areas and environments, we require the use of specialized PPE, such as face protection, hearing protection, respiratory protection, and fall protection. Employees are required to provide their own appropriate work pants, shirts, and boots. Overaa will provide all of the other required protective equipment and will train employees in the use of all PPE in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. PPE must fit correctly, be reasonably comfortable, and must not restrict an employee's movements. All PPE will be maintained in a safe and sanitary condition. Defective and/or damaged equipment will be replaced. You must be trained prior to using all equipment and certain tools such as electric saws, drill motors, or grinders. You are required to visually inspect all tools, equipment, safety equipment, and motorized equipment prior to use. Inspection is critical for proper tools and equipment job performance. Equipment inspections must be documented daily and deficiencies red tagged and reported to the supervisor for repair. Daily inspection records must be turned into the safety department at the end of every month. Appropriately maintained tools and equipment used within their design limits and inspected properly are less likely to suffer failure or damage and will give you confidence to carry out your work. Working at elevations would not be possible without the muscle of cranes. Cranes must be set up by a trained and certified rigger only, and all heavy lifting will be performed by an NCCCO certified operator. At no time are you allowed to be under an elevated load. Always stay out of the lift radius. Falls are the most common cause of work-related injuries and are primarily caused by the improper setup of a ladder, using a ladder incorrectly, or using the wrong type of ladder for the task. With this in mind, ladders must be used only for their design purpose and must be set up correctly. If you notice a damaged or defective ladder, notify your supervisor immediately.
The second piece is missing, we gotta get it out here.
A-frame ladders should be used in the fully open position only. Always face the ladder as you work, ascend or descend. When climbing ladders, use both hands, always keeping 3 points of contact. Never carry materials or tools while climbing a ladder. Always use a hand line to hoist the materials up from the ground. Never go above the second step from the top. Never stand, sit, or straddle the top of a ladder. When setting up an extension ladder, always remember the 4-to-1 rule. For every 4 feet up in elevation, the base of the ladder must be set back 1 foot away. Temporary construction ladders must extend at least 36 inches above the landing, must always be secured. When climbing a ladder that is not tied off at the top, you must have another person hold the ladder at the bottom until it can be secured. This includes the last trip down after untying the ladder. At times, you'll be working on scaffolding at different levels or heights. You must be trained prior to performing your elevated work. A competent person must always be present during scaffolding erection. A competent person is someone who can recognize hazards and is authorized to take corrective action. Each morning, there'll be an inspection of the scaffolding by a competent person. If the scaffolding is found to be non-conforming, or if the tag has not been signed, you may not use it. It is important that you have a safe working walking surface, free from openings. Stairs, ramps, and ladders that provide access to these spaces must be compliant and secure. Whenever you are exposed to a fall hazard of 6 feet or more, you will be provided with fall protection, training, and equipment. This equipment could be a guardrail or a fall restraint system. More commonly, you will use a personal fall arrest system, which is a full-body harness and lanyards. Many job sites involve underground work, such as excavations, trenches, and pipe installations. Site excavation of 5 feet or deeper cannot begin until the team has procured an excavation notification from Cal OSHA. If you are going to work in or around an excavation area, make certain that it has been inspected by the competent person. That person will look for existing conditions that pose a hazard, such as water at the bottom, cracking or crumbling soil at the sides, or insufficient shoring. When you are working in a trench that is 4 feet or deeper, always verify that you have a ramp, ladder, or stairway within 25 feet of that work. Safely store the excavation spoils pile at least 2 feet away from the edge of the excavation. When the work is completed, before you leave the area, use orange barricading around the excavation to warn others. All job sites have confined spaces. A confined space is defined as large enough and so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform assigned work, and has limited or restricted means for entry or exit, such as tanks, vessels, silos, storage bins, hoppers, vaults, and pits, and is not designed for continuous human occupancy. Serious injury or death in a confined space can be the result of hazardous atmospheres, such as toxic gases, oxygen deficiency, engulfment, electric shock, falls, and heat stress. Atmospheric testing will be conducted as necessary by the competent person to determine if any dangerous elements are present. Even the act of placing a single body part through the opening of a confined space is considered an entry. There are 2 types of confined spaces: confined space entry and permit-required confined space entry. Each type has different safety requirements. Before you do any work related to confined space entry, you must be trained and authorized to do so. The permit-required confined space program is designed to protect employees by controlling entry into that space. Every permit-required confined space entry requires a confined space rescue team and their equipment to be on standby. At Overaa, we look out for one another, and we take safety seriously. Each job has a unique site-specific safety plan, and it is your responsibility to familiarize yourself with it and ask for clarification if needed. Overaa's Superintendent Steering Committee provides a forum for field teams to exchange ideas and practices. So if you have ideas to improve operations, please share them. Remember, you always have the authority and responsibility to stop work, point out concerns, ask questions, or to decline to perform an assigned task that you feel is unsafe. We are here to help you succeed and have a meaningful career at Overaa. Thank you for joining our team.